This plant is one of my first loves in the herbal medicine world. So I really could go on all day, but let's just get to what I've personally seen. Um, and so I've seen John's wort oil topical use offer relief of all kinds, right? And remember, I have not only my stories, I have hundreds of my student stories, right? And not only my students, but my students' children. And now I've just gotten some stories recently about some of my yeah, they are my children, my students' grandchildren, right? Of my first students. So let me just start by rattling what I've personally seen it help with: sunburns, bruises, herpes, muscle pain, sore muscle, tight muscle, strained muscle, stiff muscle, muscle. I mean, how many ways are there to say problems with your muscles, right? How many words can you describe to use muscle problems, right? So, low back pain, neck pain, minor wounds, skin irritations, rashes, scars. It goes on and on and on. Fire. Everybody's gotten burned, whether it be a little bit or a lot. And I have to tell you, I just have way too many burn stories. I can't tell them all to you, but I'm going to pause here and tell you a couple because this oil is incredible. And I'm also going to tell you the mistake that I've seen people making with using oil on burns, right? And so you can look up in a dozen herb books right now, and it will say, say topical use of St. John's wort oil for burns, but they don't tell you how not to use it when you're burned. Okay. So the thing is, if you get burned, take care of yourself. If you've got a third-degree burn or something that needs to go get checked out, or you need to go to the hospital, or you think it could be getting infected, go. It's better to, I like to get the diagnosis and find out where I'm at if you need to get help. But there is, and so St. John's wort, topical use of St. John's wort oil is incredible for burns. The thing that I've seen, the thing is that you don't put it on right away because the oil will trap the heat, right? And so what you do is you run tepid water, not cold water, but just tepid, slightly cool water, and you just run water on that part of the body. You let it cool down, you let the heat release, and you let things cool down. And then, and if anything gets uncomfortable, stop. If you need help, go get help. First, with herbal medicine, we do no harm. And if we don't really get what's going on, ask for help. And so then after it's cooled down, you put the oil on the burn and you keep it applied. And this isn't going to be enough, okay? So let me just tell one story. One, I think just one. So do you know these electric burners, right? You know how they sometimes like pop up and you have to pop them back in? Okay, well, one time I was cooking in the kitchen and the burners are behind me, and my husband came in and it had popped up, and my husband was like, "Oh, she's cooking it. I'm going to help her. I'll pop it back down." Well, the burner hadn't turned red hot yet, but it was hot. I mean, it was really hot and just was right before turning red. So he took his 210-pound frame and went, "Ugh," to try to pop that back in. And he pushed on that electric burner. And the next thing I know, my very stable, very grounded, very constant husband was hopping around the kitchen like a bunny rabbit. Like, I mean, I was like, I have never seen him like that before that or since. But he went into shock. He just went into shock. It was a bad burn. It was intense. It knocked him out for the rest of the day. He slept for the rest of the day. I immediately got a bowl of St. John's wort, put his thumb in the St. John's wort oil. After about an hour, change the oil. You don't want to just reuse the oil, you want to change it. And I just did that for the rest of the day and just pretty much applied it for several hours. And then, he was exhausted. It was shocking. He was shocked. He rested the whole day. And the next morning, he woke up and there was nothing there, as in nothing, nothing, nothing. I've, if you don't believe me, I hope you don't get burned to have to find that out, but I've seen it too many times. So, you know, actually I should have him come the story because he could care less about herbs. He doesn't talk about herbs. He's not interested in what I do at all. But he tells this story because it was just so amazing to him. And there should have been a huge blister, but he just skipped it. It was like it didn't happen. He said to me, he goes, wow, that really worked, huh? That was a really bad burn, wasn't it? Did that really happen? Why isn't there anything there? I mean, that happened, right? I mean, it was really bad. I was like, yeah, it really happened. And yeah, it was really bad. And yeah, there's nothing there. I told you. But for him, that experience, it changed his reality and it changed his perception of what is possible, right? So this oil, it's like, so you are on the right track when the wow factor is involved. Okay. When you get from the people around you, they're like, wow, that really worked. Right. I mean, do you have that happening around you? I mean, maybe you're raising up some young ones, or you're dealing, you've got people in your family that are like, they weren't raised with it and they're not really that into it. And you deal with skepticism and like, oh yeah. And you just haven't been able to really get the people around you on board, right? And so this is another reason to have such a needle moving remedy. And it's so, because it's so easy with the big wow factor, because then you can convert the people around you. You have a remedy that just does the job. So this was the converting remedy for my husband. Okay. So, I have a student that completely burned the out of her legs on a motorcycle. She was wearing shorts. She used St. John's wort right away. She let it cool down. She used St. John's wort right away. There was not a trace. She was just like so blown away that she had zero scarring, right? And so I also have the experience. I do a lot of saunas. And one time I burnt my hands really bad on the steam and I instantly got just really gnarly, painful blisters, that were going to keep me, those blisters were going to keep me from using my hands. And so I got home, I used the St. John's wort oil. I soaked it in a bowl several times for the rest of the day. It should have kept up. But the next day, the blisters were gone. I mean, they were gone, right? And so the other thing is, I'm the fire tender in my house. And for many years, we've lived in a home that about 5 months of the year, I tend the fire. That's my chore. And I'm good at it. I never burn myself, except once a year. I usually burn myself. And it's usually at the end of the season where I am so over building fires and I get lazy and I burn myself and I go, oh yeah, okay, so the season's almost done. But I treat it. I've treated it so many times where the next day it's just gone. Okay. So so I think you have the idea that it really is amazing for burns, right? And so the other thing is that not only is it really good for burns, is it's also really good for scars. So I have an old friend that fell into a fire and she actually got third-degree burns and she was in the hospital. And when she got out, she had some pretty good scars, but she treated those scars, those fresh scars, with St. John's wort, and she has hardly any scarring on her body. It's incredible. And so I've seen it just eliminate burns, reduce scarring, and reduce old scarring. Not completely eliminate old scarring, but reduce old scarring. I've used it for itchy skin, for red skin. I've seen it help so many people for red, itchy skin, irritable skin. It helps calm inflammation, burning, redness. It doesn't solve why your skin got itchy and red and irritable in the first place. And you definitely want to get to the root cause of why your skin is acting up in the first place. But St. John's wort is an amazing ally in a holistic approach to taking care of your skin. Once the skin is inflamed, damaged, or red, St. John's wort has a traditional use for burning, itching, red skin. And I know a lot of people that have had really amazing success for healing the skin in the dry stages of eczema, psoriasis, dry, inflamed, irritated skin. It helps to cool the itching from the eczema, insect bites, and the skin actually can feel cooler with St. John's wort on it. I mean, that's an incredible home remedy. And again, that's one of the things about this, why this remedy is so important, is because it covers so many bases. Okay. So the other thing that I just have way too many stories about with this herb is whiplash. And so in the first days of my herbal massage practice in the 80s and the 90s, I worked in a chiropractor's office and he took insurance. And so he had a lot of people that had been in car wrecks. And so I worked on a lot of people that had been in all kinds of accidents. And people started asking me, like, I want the one that's got that oil, that chiropractic oil, and can I buy some? And so all these people started coming in. They started calling it the chiropractic oil, right? And so then they wanted to take it home. And I started selling it to them, and people started asking for it over and over and over, and it just helped to reduce their pain, right? And it's, again, it's not the only thing you should be doing for the pain, but it's one of the reasons why I was able to help finance my herbal studies is because I sold so much St. John's wort oil. And also because, the massage schools were so full of chemicals, I wanted it in my massage practice. And so, yeah, it's and the thing is a bottle, like, it can be like, it's around $10 to $15 an ounce. But if you've got muscle trauma, whiplash, burns, contusions, bruises, skin stuff, you can go through like an ounce, 2 ounces, 3 ounces a day, easy, right? So you can purchase high quality St. John's wort oil. A lot of my students are online making they're saying making and selling St. John's wort oil and doing, and it's good. Um, but if you really need it for sciatica, shingle, all the stuff, um, first of all, you want to really make sure it's made, it's a high quality, and it's cost prohibitive, right? And plus, a lot of distributors run out. They run out like if you are selling St. John's wort in May before the next harvest, it's people, it's worth something because a lot of distributors, they run out. My students that sell it, they run out, right? I've had people calling me, Cami, I need some oil. And life is good, but when something happens, it's more intense. You want St. John's wort. And there's something that I have a story. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I was in a very, very bad automobile accident many years ago where I was hit by a semi truck, and my head broke the windshield of the truck. And it was one of those situations where it was like, oh wow, my truck was totaled. It damaged my thyroid. I had contusions, and I was, nothing was broken, but um, I was injured for sure. And so it took me a long time to heal from that, but the St. John's wort healed me big time. So the main thing about this wreck is that I was holding the steering wheel, and it ripped the nerves in my wrists, and I had severe wrist damage. I couldn't open a can, I couldn't open a door. My nerves were I had painness and numbing. It was so severe. I was lucky to survive. But it would have, I don't know, I don't know if my wrists would have ever healed, but they healed pretty quickly. And it's amazing. And this is one of the reasons why it's really good to make this oil yourself, because if you do have a big injury like that, you need a lot, right? I used all the St. John's wort. By that point, I was making gallons of St. John's wort a year, and I used all of my stash on that injury. And I would not have been able to help it like that if, if I wouldn't have had it. I mean, I used over a gallon at least, and at $13 an ounce, I wouldn't have been able to help myself that way. So there's so much healing with this oil, but you need to have enough of it, okay? So when you think about St. John's wort and its uses, right? One of the things that you hear and see is that it's for nerve pain, right? And the thing that's specific about St. John's wort is that it has an affinity for the nerves, okay? Nerve pain, nerve damage, sharp shooting pain, carpal tunnel, pinched nerves, numbness, tinkling. I have seen it and experienced it myself at resolving nerve injury and nerve pain. And again, I hope you don't need it, but given the amount of nerves that are in the body, it is really good to have a remedy that, so again, this is topical use, right? We have a lot of nerves. We, are, if I, a lot of times I get nerve pain here, and I will St. John's wort that area. And it's good to have a remedy that helps the nerves, right? And so this topical application helps with so much, so many different indications that the nerves are involved in, right? And again, it's, it's not like it's a heal all, not like a miracle, but it's an incredible part of any kind of holistic protocol for that topical use of nerve pain. Okay. And so I just love this little saying. And so Maria Traven, she says that no home should be without St. John's wort oil. And I absolutely agree. In herbalism, it's a generational art. It's good to get started now, right? Humans have a lot of nerves, a lot of nerve affection, not afflictions, nerve complaints. And I love how she says no home should be without it. And so there's several herbal infused oils that help burns, sprains, and strains. But if the nerves are involved, that tingling, that shooting pain, there is no other oil that I've experienced like St. John's oil. And that's what it's for centuries been used for. There are many oils that are anti-inflammatory for bruises, contusions, but the differentiation with St. John's wort oil is at how it helps the nerves. Okay, so when you think of nerves, like things like sciatica, right? In Greece, where St. John's wort oil is super popular remedy, they call it arnica for the nerves, right? And so we call it arnica for the nerves because arnica is an incredible herbal oil for contusions, bumps, bruises, injuries. But you can't use it when the skin is broken, okay? But and so, but with you can use it for all of those things, St. John's wort, even when the skin is broken. So we're not talking about deep wounds here, but yeah. So it's got this space that you can use it where you can't use arnica. So far we've talked about it for burns, scars, itchy skin, whiplash, nerve pain, all kinds of nerve issues, right? And so the other thing is that it's got a lot of great uh, prevention uses and nourishing uses. And I practiced massage for over 20 years. And again, you don't have to be into massage to use it, but I don't know how many gallons of St. John's wort I went through in my massage practice, but there's lots of different massage modalities. I used to do a lot of deep tissue, and when I was practicing, one of the things I saw was so many massage therapists, their hands would just give out, and my hands never. I never had a single problem with my hands, and it was the oils. The oils healed me right along with my clients, right? So I made this oil the first summer, the first time I made it, 1986. I've been making it ever since, and I have so many students that are massage therapists that again, if you're doing any kind of healing work, even if it's you're the healer in your house, you're the mom. If you're a mom, you're a massage therapist. You want to activate this oil in your practice and in your home, right? So that the oil does the work for you. And yeah. And the other place where I really just think it could be being used so much more is in yoga, right? It's so underused. I mean, people overstretch themselves. You can apply this St. John's wort oil before yoga, after doing yoga, for the ceremonies. And I just feel like if you're part of a yoga community, it's just a matter of timing before this oil kind of like hits that community. And the other thing, it's incredibly safe for all ages, and it doesn't have um, the contraindications that internal use of St. John's wort has. And so Jill Aviva Ram, in her natural pregnancy book, she says St. John's wort oil is a fantastic external oil for aching muscles, a sore back, sore ligaments, and sciatica. So it's our pregnancy herb too, right? And so look at all of these actions. It's analgesic, it helps with pain, antibacterial, antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, vulnerary herbs increase the rate at which skin cells regenerate, and so it helps heal your skin.